Welcome to another edition of BCR Webcasting. I'm very happy to be joined today by Karol Leszczyński, who's the Factoring Product Development Manager at Comarch Factoring, which is part of the Business Banking Unit. Karol, welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me here today.
Karol, Comarch is a company with many products and many technologies that you've invested in and you're producing. Factoring is one of those, and I was very lucky to be invited to your impressive campus a couple of months ago in Krakow, and I was very impressed what I saw there. And I think in that location alone you have what, 2,000 people?
I think over 6,000 people right now.
In that one location?
No, sorry. In this location, I think it's about 3,000 to 4,000 people.
Oh, 3,000 to 4,000. Okay. Well, yes. I was very, very impressed, and thank you for showing me around and inviting me there.
It was a pleasure to have you here.
But today we're going to be talking about some aspects of your factoring product. But before we go into that, let me just give the audience a little bit of background information about you. You're an enthusiast of the agile methodology. You're also a certified Scrum Master. I'm not quite sure what that means. I don't think it means you play a lot of rugby, but anyway, you're 10 years in corporate banking with Raiffeisen and BNP Paribas as a relationship manager and sales director of factoring. And you're now responsible for the development of the Comarch factoring platform. And your main responsibilities there include the transformation of the platform from a monolithic structure to microservices and development towards a cloud application. So, Karol, my first question to you is about agile and waterfall methodologies. What is the difference between those two methodologies, and how does the choice of one of those impact the success of implementing a factoring system?
Yes, so we need to understand that agile and waterfall are two different approaches to project management, often used in the field of software development. I discussed this in more detail in a white paper in cooperation with BCR. So waterfall methodology is a linear sequential approach in which each phase must be completed before moving on to the next. This gives a sense of clearly defined goal, and once all phases have been carried out, we end up with a finished product that is in line with the origin intent. Agile methodology is an iterative, incremental approach in which small pieces of functionality are developed, tested, and delivered to the customer in sprints. But I would like to concentrate on key differences. So risk management, waterfall minimize the risk of the early phases of the project, while agile manages risk through the project. Flexibility and adaptability. Agile is more flexible and adaptive, allowing to adjust to changes during the project. Understanding requirements is also very important. In waterfall, a full understanding of the requirements is crucial at the outset, whereas agile allows you to adapt to changing requirements. And I think one of the most important things as well is delivery of prior value. Agile allows value to be delivered to the client at the early stages, while waterfall delivers the project fully at the end. But we need to remember that the final choice of the methodology should depend on the project's requirements, budget, schedule, and resources for implementation. Ultimately, the success of our project depends on a number of factors, like project team ability to adapt to a particular methodology, collaborate effectively, and deliver high quality software that at the end of the day meets the client's requirements.
So throughout the length of a project, requirements can change, things can change, other influences might come in. So with an agile methodology, you can respond to those adjustment changes quite
yes, exactly. We are able to adapt during the project, during the implementation, because financial industry is an industry that we need to be able to catch up with all the new requirements, for instance, for the government side. So agile helps to do that a little bit better than waterfall.
Okay. What about data migration? I mean, this is a really critical aspect when you're changing from one system to another. What sort of strategies can help minimize any risk involved in that process of migration?
That's a very good question. For factoring companies, a smooth transition, the pathway towards migrating customer data comes down to choosing between the distinct approaches, the big bang method and the friends and family or step-by-step approach. One is a strategic great leap and the other a carefully planned journey. Each carries its own set of promises, challenges, and most importantly, impact on the customer experience. So the big bang approach is where the transfer of all the customer takes place at one time. This can be done, example, during a weekend, so that the factor customers can start their week with a new system. In that approach, it is crucial to provide an information campaign, a demo of the system, and appropriate training before this procedure, so that customers who will use the new system are not taken by a surprise with a sudden change. And the second strategy is a friends and family, or as I mentioned, step-by-step approach. So customers with whom we have successfully developed relationship are the first that we need to take care of when migrating to a new system. So many will be happy to use the new solutions, especially if they can be among the first ones to do so. Subsequent customer groups are transferred periodically in stages. What is worth to mentioning here, it is very important to collect feedback from friends and family customers about using the new system in order to react in a timely manner before the migration is completed. In this approach, the new customers are being presented with the new system from the very beginning, since there is no point in introducing them to an old one that is soon to be replaced.
So I guess with any new situation with a new client, you would discuss with the client which is the most suitable approach for their.
Yes, of course. As a software company, as a vendor, we need to be sure that we are able to provide both of those methodologies. So we are able to do the big bang approach or step by step. It depends, of course, of the client requirements.
Sure. Okay. And what about pricing models? The way you price your services. How does that influence a factor's choice, or a bank's choice of a factoring system? There are different models. What are the different what are the advantages and limitations of each model, and what are those models?
Okay, so pricing models in IT are a key element that influence business decision and the choice of services of products by business and customers. More often than not, these decisions are linked to the scale of the business and the stage of development of a given financial institution. For some companies, a large one-off license fee model will be better from a business perspective, while others will prefer to bill for time spent and components produced. And the last will more easily budget for a software as a service model with recurring invoicing in a subscription model. So let's concentrate on the most common pricing model. So on-premise. The on-premise pricing model is based on one-off license fees and additional costs associated with maintaining and supporting the system. Company typically pays a one-off license fee to obtain the right to use the product on a permanent basis. However, it is important to note that this is not only the associated with the on-premise model. Additional costs include the maintenance of the hardware infrastructure, the purchase of necessary computer equipment, data storage system, and the hiring of staff to manage, update, and maintain the entire IT environment. The on-premise pricing model is often chosen by factors that prefer full control over the IT environment, want to maintain a high level of data security, or need to comply with strict industry regulations. However, this type of model often comes with a higher upfront costs and the need for ongoing infrastructure maintenance expenses. The second very popular model is time and material. This is another pricing model, and under this approach, the vendor invoices the client for a number of man-hours, man-days it spends to deliver the IT services or solution. However, it can be considered costly because the customer pays for the working time itself, regardless of the end results. And more popular is a subscription model. We also need to remember about this model because vendors offer customers access to their services or products in exchange for a regular fee, usually monthly or annually. This approach allows for a steady flow of revenue and factors value cost stability. Subscription models are commonly used in cloud computing, software as a service, or data management services. A growing trend in pricing models is a hybrid approach. They combine various elements of different pricing models. Companies are trying to adapt to an individual customer needs by offering flexible and personalized approaches to the pricing. So it's important that factoring company carefully analyze their objective, market characteristics, and customer expectations when choosing a pricing model. And the right pricing model can contribute to competitiveness, customer satisfaction, and success at the end of the day.
Yes, I mean, we've certainly seen quite a big trend in movement towards subscription models and a little bit more recently hybrid models. But I guess you can adapt to whatever your client's needs are, and you can explain the benefits and advantages and the various aspects that relate to those choices.
As I mentioned earlier, we as vendors, we need to adapt to the customer needs. So we need to be able to provide every pricing models that they need.
Well, Karol, thanks very much for giving that short description of the various important aspects that need to be looked at when considering a factory system, a new factoring system. And thank you very much for that. And
thank you.
I should also mention that the white paper, the special report that Karol produced for us, Comarch produced for us, is available on the BCR website. It's free to download at www.bcrpub.com. So please do have a look at that white paper about agile and waterfall methodologies. Interesting reading. Karol, thank you once again, and a pleasure to talk to you. And maybe we'll see you again soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me here today.